Facebook. Folks, thank you for joining us. This is Rick O'Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live above the Cove in Taiji, Japan. We're watching a pod of dolphins that the hunters are driving around the side of the peninsula and attempting to drive into the Cove. They went out this morning at about 9:35 a.m. and we spotted this formation at 9 a.m. They went out at 6:35 a.m. We spotted the formation at 9 a.m. Down to the southeast, and it took them about half an hour to drive them up point. Right now they've come along the edge of that peninsula and they're over by the mouth of the harbor, and they're going to drive them right in front of us here shortly. The pod is fighting. It looks to be a sizable pod. It actually, half of the pod broke away, and we're not sure what's going on yet, but there's still 3 banger boats out this way. Anyway, we're just watching them to see what's going to happen, but it appears as the rest of the pod got away, or either they drove them back out to get them out of the way. So we'll watch that and see what happens. It's on quiet over there right now. They're kind of sitting there. Probably the dolphins have gone down and they're waiting for them to come back up. And I hear them revving their engines again. I can hear them banging. The reason that these boats are called banger boats is because they have long metal poles attached to them that they swing over and dip into the water, and then smash on the poles to create basically an acoustic hell for the dolphins, a wall of sound that terrorizes and confuses the dolphins, and the dolphins swim away from it, trying to get away. They've never heard anything like that in their lives. And that's how they get them to go where they want them to go. Dolphins are very acoustically sensitive. They have a sophisticated sonar system called echolocation, where they emit sounds, clicks, whistles, and they bounce off objects around them, and they return to them and provide them information about their environment, and that's how they interpret and navigate their world. Boats with banging metal poles are not anything they've ever encountered before. There's a lot of foliage here that blocks our view. This is a national park and all this is protected, so we can't do anything, break any branches or do anything with any of the foliage up here. We'll be arrested. But we do have some spots that will give you a better view. They're just not in one right now. You can hear the banging again. And folks, these hunts take place here in Taiji annually from the beginning of September until the end of February. The hunters go out every day in pursuit of a pod of dolphins. And these hunts really, they will say it's culture and tradition, but that used to be the case, but it's not anymore. The pure reason that they're doing this is because the live dolphins that they take into captivity and they sell to the different marine parks around the world are extremely, it's extremely profitable. They can bring in a 6-figure for a pretty well-trained dolphin. There's not a big demand for dolphin and whale meat here in Japan anymore. It's very toxic. It's full of PCBs and mercury, and most people really don't want to eat it. And the hunters don't get a lot of money for a dead dolphin that ends up in the supermarkets, or some of the other parts that they don't use, they grind up for fertilizer or pet food. So the real reason they do this is for the captive dolphins, because that's where they make their money. Without that, they wouldn't make enough money just bringing in dead dolphins for meat to pay for their gas and to pay for the cost of all these boats going out every single day. It wouldn't be viable. And folks, I know a lot of you are just joining us. This is Rick O'Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live on Takababi Mountain, up above the Cove in Taiji, Japan. We're watching a pod of dolphins get driven into the cove. We first spotted the boats in formation at 9 a.m. Took them about half an hour to get out to the point of that peninsula. And right now they're behind those trees. Over there to the right is the mouth of the harbor. And they've pushed them past that, so they're headed in our direction. And it's 10 a.m. here in Taiji right now. And I apologize the obstruction with the foliage, but there's not much that you'll be able to see right now until they come into our view. You can hear them though. You should be able to hear revving engines and hear them bashing the poles. They seem to be having a hard time driving these dolphins around this corner here. They've been sort of stuck in the same spot, just banging their poles for quite a few minutes. Hi folks, if you're just joining us, this is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live in Taiji, Japan. We're up on Takababi Hill above the Cove, and we're watching the hunters drive looks like a pretty sizable pod of dolphins into the cove. We first spotted them in formation at 9 o'clock a.m. here, and they drove them around that tip of that peninsula and then down along the side of it, and then they turned to the right by the mouth of the harbor, and they're coming our way now straight towards the actual cove. Right now they're still behind the foliage. You can hear the banging. Those are the hunters on the banger boats, which are called banger boats because they have long metal poles that the hunters put into the water, and they bang with their hammers on them to create a wall of sound to confuse and disorient and terrify the dolphins. The dolphins then try to get away, and they're going exactly where the hunters want them to go. So these dolphins have been fighting for at least an hour now, and probably they drove them for a while before they came into our view. It did appear that the pod split into two, or part of it got away. But what they have here and they're driving in is still a sizable amount. But it does appear that before they were able to get them past the point there, that a portion of the pod did break away and make it to open ocean. You can hear the banging and the engines revving. Move the tripod just a little bit. And folks, you should be able to see them just coming around out of the trees here. Right now, looks like we have three. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I can see 4 banger boats and 3 skiffs. And the pod is just right out front. Right to the left of that, what looks like a pine tree there in front of us. And the pod is starting to come into under the bushes here to the left, so you're probably not going to be able to see them. They have tried to make a break for it, but they are really surrounded by all these banger boats and these skiffs. Move over a little this way and see if you can see them. It's hard to see, but the hunters in the skiffs are throwing out weighted objects to make big splashes on top of all the banging of the poles and the revving of the engines. They're basically doing everything they can to completely terrorize these dolphins and exhaust them. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project. We are live in Taiji, Japan. We're up on Takababi Mountain above the Cove, where the hunters are driving a fairly sizable pod of dolphins into the cove. They've just gone out of our view here. You can probably still hear the banging. It looks like the dolphins have gone down. You'll hear them rev their engines as soon as they find them, as soon as the dolphins come back up. There's a lot of branches and foliage here. Let me go up a little farther and see if we have a view up here. Here we go. Dolphins are right to the right of that rock on the left-hand side of your screen. Let's see. What they're going to do is they're going to hang a net. Now the dolphins are on the left side of the rock. They're going to hang that net. Let's see. Those guys in those skiffs are still just throwing some sort of weighted objects that are attached to a cord or something into the water and making big splashes to keep pushing the dolphins into the cove. Let's see. Sorry folks, it's really limited excuse me, visibility right here. This is Rickleberry's Dolphin Project. We are live in Taiji, Japan on Takababi Mountain above the cove, where a pod of dolphins is being driven into the cove. We first spotted this drive at 9 a.m. It's now about 10 a.m. It looks like they have got them into the cove. I'm going to relocate. As I'm walking, you can probably see all the trees and foliage up here. And of course, it is a national park and all that's protected. We can't touch it at all. There are fewer and fewer vantage points where we're able to see, but I am heading to one right now. Whoops. Okay, bear with me a moment, folks. Gotta get set up on a ladder. Okay, up on a ladder here, right above the cove. Get you situated. Hold on. And they do have 2 sets of nets drawn. Inside the net right below us, you can see the dolphins. They're sort of to the right. Some of them are, the view is obstructed by that branch, but hopefully you can see them. They're basically just swimming in circles, huddled together. Pretty much on the bottom right hand side of your screen. You know, they're pretty much behind the foliage now. Folks, we're reviewing our footage and we're working on species identification right now. And we will let you know as soon as we can confirm. We have a lot of footage to review. This is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project. We are live on Takababi Hill above the Cove in Taiji, Japan, where a fairly sizable pod of dolphins has been driven into the cove. Right now they're swimming down below us to the right of your screen behind the trees there. There's 2 nets drawn. Trying to focus down on where the dolphins are. They're just swimming together tightly, terrified, exhausted. And folks, we do have an ID on the species. We have a pod of striped dolphins here netted in the cove. We've got a couple skiffs down there. They're dropping another net. We don't have numbers for you, but looks like a sizable pod. It was bigger initially, but part of the pod made a break for it. And it does appear that they got back out to open ocean, whilst the rest were driven along the peninsula and ultimately into the cove where they are now. We first spotted the boats in formation driving these dolphins at 9 a.m. It's almost 10:30 a.m. here in Taiji right now. Most of what's taking place right now is down below us, out of our sight, under the foliage. There's a couple skiffs down there pushing the dolphins closer under the foliage where we can't see. You can see the dolphins just frantically splashing and huddling together. You can hear them breathing really hard. Must be absolutely terrified and exhausted. Folks, let me remind you that these drive hunts take place annually from the beginning of September until the end of February. The hunters go out every day in search of a pod of dolphins to drive into the cove here, and the driving force behind this is the captivity industry. The dolphins that they take live and they put them in captivity in the sea pens here, and then they train them, can sell for up to 6 figures to dolphinariums around the world. So there's not a great demand for dolphin and whale meat, although it will end up in the local supermarkets after they're slaughtered. But they don't make enough money off of the dead dolphins, for their meat. They don't make enough to sustain going out every day for 6 months. Selling the dolphins to the various marine parks is very, very profitable. That's why they're doing this. So what you can do, share this video, tell all your friends, go to our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There are a list of calls to action that you guys can find, and you can find things that you can do to help. You can also take a pledge not to buy a ticket to a dolphin show, and ask all your family and friends, co-workers to do the same thing. I encourage you to watch the Cove. You could have a watch party and invite your family and friends. The big thing is we want to educate people, and we want to spread the word about this, because if we can stop people wanting to buy tickets and be entertained by dolphins, then there will be no need for these guys to go out and capture these dolphins, because no one will sell them. No one will want to buy them if no one wants to come see them perform tricks. And folks, if you love dolphins and you want to see dolphins and whales, find a reputable business and go see them in the wild where they belong. They're curious about us, and they will come to the boats and they'll check us out and see what we're doing. They're interested in us as well. Unfortunately, these dolphins approached the wrong boats today, and the hunters certainly betrayed their trust. Dolphins don't belong in captivity. They don't belong in tanks, chlorinated water, swimming in circles, floating listlessly day after day. They keep them hungry so that they're desperate for food, so that they'll do tricks that the trainers are trying to get them to do, because they're so hungry. They're eager to do whatever it takes to get fed. They also frequently get dehydrated because dolphins get their water from fresh fish that they eat in the wild, and in captivity they feed them dead fish, and oftentimes they have to have a tube stuck down their throat, and they have to hydrate them that way. So right now everything's happening under the tarps below us. We're blocked by the foliage. There's a lot of skiffs revving, people talking, splashing, thrashing. Just gonna let you guys listen. We can't see, but we can hear. I don't know if you guys could see this, but there's a tiny, tiny baby dolphin floating in the water right in the middle, and they just went over on a skiff and scooped it up. It looked lifeless, but I don't know. Can't see it. They're under the foliage and the tarp. I can hear a lot of thrashing down there, folks. A lot of them just slapping their flukes and thrashing. I'm sorry, everything is literally being done out of our view. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live in Taiji, Japan. We're up on Takababi Mountain above the Cove, and you are watching the hunters have driven a pod of striped dolphins into the cove. Oh my gosh, there's one right beside that skiff really thrashing. Let's see if I can... Really hard to see. They're really trying to keep everything under the foliage where we can't see. I did see a dolphin floating out there. It looked very small, appeared to be lifeless. They scooped it up and put it in their skiff. Can still hear thrashing down there. Folks, this is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project live in Taiji, Japan. We're up on Takababi Mountain above the Cove. And we are witnessing the last moments of this pod of striped dolphins' lives right now. They're all under the foliage, under the tarp in the Killing Cove. Have not seen trainers. Please share this live stream. Please tell your family and friends about this. Please follow us on social media. We have accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go to ricoberriesdolphinproject.com. Click on our Take Action links. There are calls to action that you can do. And above all, please don't buy a ticket to a dolphin show. You can take that pledge on our page, on our site. Oh my gosh, can you hear the thrashing down there, you guys? So folks, right now they've got the pod of striped dolphins down under the tarps in the killing cove. There are several skiffs down there. Everything that they're doing is out of view right now. So we can just listen and wait. I continue to hear a lot of thrashing noises coming from under the tarps down below. Horrible, horrible thrashing noises coming from under the tarps. Thank you guys for joining us and staying with us. We know this is really difficult to watch. This is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project live in Taiji, Japan. On Takababi Mountain, we're live streaming above the cove. There's a pod of striped dolphins down there under the tarps, awaiting their fate right now. Can hear some of them struggling and thrashing. The water is turning a darker color, probably from a combination of all the sediment that's stirred up with all the thrashing and splashing, and also their blood. Everything that they're doing right now is out of our view, so we're listening and we're waiting. We first spotted them driving this pod at 9 a.m. this morning. It's about 10:40 a.m. now. And I know a lot of people ask, why don't we do something? I want to say we are doing something. This is something. We are here, we're documenting, we're getting footage, and we're witnessing the last moments of life and freedom for these dolphins. It's all documented. And social media is a powerful platform. I've talked to a lot of people who first found out about this through finding it on Facebook or Instagram. So it definitely works to share this. I think the more people that know about this, more people will be shocked, and they will definitely not want to buy tickets to dolphin shows. Dolphins are wild animals. They do no harm. They belong free and wild in the ocean with their family, not swimming in endless circles in concrete tanks and just logging listlessly, bored, frustrated after the show's over. They often go a little bit psychotic, actually. They do engage in stereotypic behaviors, which is just repetitive, senseless, meaningless actions that often are self-harming, like banging their heads, just from the boredom and frustration and hunger, lack of stimulation. So please take the pledge not to buy a ticket to a dolphin show. Share this live stream, tell all your family and friends, co-workers. Thank you for joining us, folks, and thank you for staying with us. This is a really difficult thing to witness, but it's important to know about it. And it's important that these dolphins' last moments of life and freedom are witnessed. We really, really appreciate you being there and appreciate your support. It means a lot. There's a lot of noise coming from down below under those tarps. All the dolphins are under there. Hear a lot of thrashing, yelling, talk amongst the hunters. Dolphins thrashing, fighting for their lives. Oh my goodness. Just want you guys to listen to this. Sorry folks, on Instagram it automatically cuts out after a certain amount of time. I got you back here. Right now I just want you guys to listen to the thrashing that's going on beneath the tarps below us. Folks, just to recap and catch you up, this is Rick O'Berry's Dolphin Project. We are live in Taiji, Japan. We're up on Takababi Mountain and we're standing overlooking the Cove right now, where a pod of striped dolphins has been driven in. They are all under the tarp right now. We're hearing a lot of thrashing, yelling, talking amongst the hunters down there. Everything that's going on right now is out of our view, so we're listening and we're waiting. Thank you for joining us and being with us here and bearing witness with us to these dolphins' last moments of life and freedom. Those are birds that you hear. The only sound you hear coming from the dolphins right now is the thrashing. But I like to think the birds are up here watching and that they're sad too right now. And folks, I know people keep asking the question, why don't we do something? We are doing something. We're here, we're documenting this, we're bearing witness to these dolphins' last moments of life and freedom. We're sharing this to the world. We have police with us at all times. We cannot interfere. This is legal here in Japan, what they're doing. And we would immediately be arrested and deported. And then this would be happening and there would be nobody here to document it. To document that these animals lived, that they mattered, that they fought hard for their lives. And again, this is all because of the captive industry. When they take live dolphins into captivity from these hunts, they can sell them for up to 6 figures each. They make huge profits from that. It's a money maker for them. That is why they do it. They like to say it's culture and tradition, but that's not true. People generally don't want to eat dolphin and whale meat anymore. It's extremely contaminated, and there's just not a demand for it. They wouldn't make enough money on dead dolphins to sustain them going out every single day for 6 months at a time. I also want to just quickly say that, this is a small group of people in Japan. This is not all of Japan. And we don't wish harm on the citizens of Japan. A lot of people in Japan don't even know that this is going on. It's actually a global issue. Yes, this is ground zero for dolphin captivity, dolphin slaughter here in Taiji, Japan. This is where it's happening. But why is it happening here? It's happening because globally there is a market. Human beings want to be entertained by dolphins. And they buy tickets to dolphin shows. And that's where these captives are sent to. They're purchased for big money and they're shipped to different marine parks around the world. So please share this live stream. Tell your family and friends. Go to rickoberriesdolphinproject.com. See what you can do on the Take Action links, and please pledge not to buy a ticket to a dolphin show. Yes, education is the key. Yes, folks, this is a global problem. This is not a Japanese problem. It's a global problem. Folks, right now everything is happening down below us under the tarps. We can't see anything. We do see the water turning a murky color, turning red. We're just waiting. The hunters are under there, the skiffs are under there, so all we can do is listen and wait. Here we go.
Do I go now?
Okay, folks, I hear the skiff revving its engine, and it does appear to be coming out. That's a skiff full of the bodies, lifeless bodies of dolphins. They're going around the corner to the right, headed for the butcher house, which is in the harbor. Striped dolphin are smaller dolphins, so they just pile the dead bodies in the skiffs rather than tying them by their flukes and dragging them. Continue to hear a lot of yelling coming from under there. Sorry, there's a lot of glare up here on the camera, so I'm just trying to keep you in the best spot that I can. And folks, this is Rico Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live in Taiji, Japan. We're on Takababi Mountain, right up above the Cove, where a pod of striped dolphins has been driven in. And we've seen one skiff loaded with bodies come out, headed for the butcher house. Yeah, the remaining dolphins and hunters are down below us, underneath the tarps, where we can't see what they're doing, although we know what they're doing. So we're just listening and waiting for them to come out and come into our view. Okay, folks, I see through the bushes another skiff slowly coming out. Also appears to be loaded with bodies under a gray tarp. It's not in your view yet, I don't think. Well, now they've moved over to the right. They're trying to stay under the bushes as long as they can. They know we can't see there. Still a lot of communication, talk, yelling back and forth by the hunters down there under the tarps. Haven't seen that second skiff come out yet. We first spotted this drive, folks, at 9 a.m. It's a little bit after 11 a.m. now. See a diver right on the other side of the internet, Probably looking for bodies down there to make sure they didn't miss any. So you guys can see him. So yeah, there's a diver going right along that yellow net line, making sure there's no dolphins tangled up or left behind in there. And then on the right of your screen, there's another skiff coming out from under the bushes. It's loaded with dead bodies under the tarps. So there goes a second skiff full of dead bodies of striped dolphins. Still a couple divers in the water. They're over to the right of the screen, behind the trees. I don't think you can see them, but I'm watching them. And now they're even out of my view. I did see at one point a small lifeless body floating, and the skiff quickly went out and picked it up and put it in the skiff. It did look like it was a dead, very small dolphin. And probably just couldn't endure the terror and exhaustion of the whole drive. Okay, I do see the Coast Guard leaving, which indicates that they have completed whatever they're going to do. All these dolphins lost their lives today. They did not take any live captures. I do still hear hunters down under the tarps, so I'm not leaving until everything is finished. So to recap, folks, this is Rick O'Berry's Dolphin Project. We're live in Taiji, Japan. We are on Takababi Mountain up above the Cove, where a pod of striped dolphins has been driven in and slaughtered. I see another skiff coming out. Bear with me till it gets in my view. Still hear laughter down there. And the water is red with the blood of the striped dolphins who lost their lives here today. So folks, thank you for joining us. Thanks for staying with us. This is a really difficult process to watch. We really appreciate your support. We're here to be your eyes and ears. And the whole point of us being here and documenting this is to share it out to the world. So each one of you is helping, and if you guys keep sharing, and hopefully more people will share, and we will continue to spread the word and educate people, and there will not be the need for these guys to do this atrocity anymore, because there will not be anybody who wants to spend their money to go to a show and watch a captive dolphin do tricks in a tank like a clown. So folks, please follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please click on the Take Action links, find some calls to action that you can do to help these dolphins. Also, please take the pledge not to buy a ticket to a dolphin show, and tell everybody that you know about this, and tell everybody never to buy a ticket to a dolphin show. We'll review our footage, and we will be posting later with updates of what occurred here today and different footage from this atrocity that we've witnessed. Thank you guys. So folks, thank you for joining us. Thanks for staying with us. This is a really difficult process to watch. We really appreciate your support. We're here to be your eyes and ears. And the whole point of us being here and documenting this is to share it out to the world. So each one of you is helping, and if you guys keep sharing, and hopefully more people will share, and we will continue to spread the word and educate people, and there will not be the need for these guys to do this atrocity anymore, because there will not be anybody who wants to spend their money to go to a show and watch a captive dolphin do tricks in a tank like a clown. So folks, please follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please click on the Take Action links, find some calls to action that you can do to help these dolphins. Also, please take the pledge not to buy a ticket to a dolphin show, and tell everybody that you know about this, and tell everybody never to buy a ticket to a dolphin show. We'll review our footage, and we will be posting later with updates of what occurred here today and different footage from this atrocity that we've witnessed. Thank you guys.